My name is Amos Angelovici. I'm the CEO of AdSwapper, and in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about performance marketing. If you've never heard about AdSwapper, then we're a Colombia-based advertising exchange specializing in performance campaign. When I say exchange, what I mean is we facilitate the connection between brands, advertiser, merchants that are interested in promoting their service or their product on a performance-based model to facilitate the connection to publishers that want to promote those promotions or products. But what do I mean by performance-based model? That's the interesting thing. So let's look at the definition. Apparently not the only one who likes to go to definitions today. Performance marketing is an advertising or a marketing program in which retailers, merchants pay marketing companies, or also known as affiliates or publishers, when a specific action is completed, such as a sale, a lead, a click. So what do I mean by that? If you've ever advertised anywhere, in the traditional model, what happens is that you pay money up front and you're hoping some magic will happen in the back. So if you did Facebook or Google, then you pay for impressions to show your ad or to click, and you're hoping that somewhere it will translate into money, into revenue that will make sense. Now, that's a huge problem for any business because this means that you as a brand or merchant, you're taking all the risk. You're paying and you're hoping you'll see your money back, but you don't really have a way of guaranteeing this. So it's a huge risk for you. And I talk to businesses and they say, well, you know, I'm going to spend 500, 1,000, even tens of thousands of dollars in advertising. And I don't know if I'm ever going to see that. And it's a risk for me, especially during, you know, times where the economy is hard, your budgets are uncertain. So you want to make sure that you're getting an ROI. Performance marketing works the exact opposite. In performance marketing, you shift the risk from the advertiser to the publisher, because what happens is that the advertiser defines the point and says, well, if this action happens, I'm willing to pay. I don't really care how many times you as a publisher are going to show my ad. I don't really care how many people are going to click from your site to my store. What I care about is that something happens, for example, a sale. And when a sales happen, that's when I'm willing to pay. Now, if you think about it, for an advertiser, for a brand, that's really good because now they have less risk and they can calculate their ROI because they're saying, well, I'm willing to pay $10 if I'm going to make a $100 sale, but I'm not willing to pay anything if people just come browse on my store but never buy anything. So this is actually a big market. The Performance Marketing Association published a report that in 2018, the market was estimated at $6.2 billion. Over 80% of advertisers and 84% of publishers reported running some kind of an affiliate or a performance-based marketing program. It's interesting to see that the biggest sector of business that spent money was retail, because again, it's made really sense. Then afterwards, financial and travel. The more interesting part for me, at least, was looking at how much money was generated for every ad dollar spent. So you can see here before COVID that the travel industry made $18 for every dollar they spent on performance advertising. The entertainment industry generated $15, and the retail industry generated $12 for every dollar they spent on this model. Now, for me, what I'm learning for this are two things. One is, hey, there's a way to measure ROI, okay? And the other one is that it's certainly worth their while spending this money because they were guaranteed getting money in return. Maybe a different way to understand this is if we look at the sales funnel, and especially the online sales funnel. So maybe the entry point is always the awareness, right? People see your ad. The next step is usually, well, people click your ad. That's the trigger. They click your ad, they go to your website. The next level in the funnel is they engage with your website. They search a product, they browse your website. The next level is when it starts getting really interesting is the lead, the consider. They leave their number or their contact information to get back, so you can get back to them with a price quote, or maybe they even put something in the shopping cart. And the best one, which is the last level, is the purchase. They actually spend money in the funnel, right? That's where you want every time to get your users. Now, if you look at the online advertising and the way you advertise there, then awareness and trigger are the pay-per impression and pay-per-click. And those are the places where Google and Facebook live, and Twitter and all those guys. While it's great and you pay relatively low amounts of money per this type of action is very high in the sales funnel. And the probability of this becoming an actual sale that generates money for you is low. So you want to get them, or you want to pay money, and you're okay with paying for advertising, but you want to pay only when there's an action, and that's where performance marketing comes in, because we come in the 3 lower levels where you can define, I'm willing to pay if the user does something on my website, or I'm willing to pay only if they leave their contact information, or I'm willing to pay only if they actually purchase something. So it's a different world than Google and Facebook. It's more, I'll say, action-oriented, obviously performance-oriented, hence the name, but it's more of looking at what the advertiser and the merchant actually is willing to pay for in a way for them to generate an ROI for them. Now, just again, to give you real life examples, those are brands that we've run campaigns for them and are running campaigns for them and AdSwapper. And you can see on the right side, these are 2 apps that define their conversion point as download and engage. They said, well, if you download my app and you do things on my app, then that's enough for me that I know that I can generate a revenue. The middle one is something you probably are all familiar with, is when you want to get a price quote for an auto insurance, you go to a website and what they want is your contact information so they can give you that quote, right? So their campaign is based on lead generation. They're willing to pay the publisher if you actually go there and leave your contact information. And on the left, you can see examples of brands that are promoting and willing to promote only if there's an actual sale. So for example, Oli, which is a subscription box for dog food, or Fabletics, which sells women's clothes, CBD, Splendid Spoon, which is like Blue Apron. It's a subscription box for food, and LinkedIn Learning, which is subscription for education. But all of them said, we are willing to pay, and pay a lot, if the user actually spends money on our website. We're not interested in them seeing our ad because we don't see an ROI from this. So assuming we've now understood what performance marketing is, the question is, what do you need to do if you want to start advertising in performance marketing? And I'm going to talk about what you need to do if you're a merchant and you want to start using this model to advertise. But if you're a publisher and want to use that to publish this type of campaigns, then just go the other way, and it holds the same thing. So step number 1 is make sure you have a tracking platform. What do I mean by that? Most online merchants have some kind of an e-commerce shop. What you need to do is you need to make sure that your e-commerce platform supports tracking and reporting performance. So the good news is that most of them do today because of the popularity of this type of advertising. The less good news is that some of them have restrictions that you should be aware of. For example, Amazon and eBay require that the publisher be part of their affiliate program in order to promote products on their platform. So you have to be an Amazon associate or an eBay partner in order to promote, your publisher has to be that in order to promote your product. And not everybody can be an associate or a partner there. They have all kinds of restrictions. So in some way, they restrict who is able to promote your product. Shopify, for example, on the other hand, doesn't have that type of program. But what they do is they don't have direct affiliate programs. They work with third-party partners that are able to provide you with that support for tracking. But that means that you then have to pay Shopify and a third-party vendor for that service. So the cost is a bit higher, and you need to take that into account. So I'm just saying, make sure that if you have for example, a WordPress website, so you need to have a plugin that supports it. Just make sure that whatever platform you're using for e-commerce has that support. But once you have that support, the next step is define your offer. So what do I mean by define your offer? The first step, we talked about the conversion funnel, right? So make sure that you understand where in that funnel, in that sales funnel, it makes sense for you to have your conversion point, okay? I know everybody will instinctively say, hey, we all want to be down there in the buy. But remember that the lower you go down, the more advanced you are in the funnel, the harder it is to convert. Now, there's a flip side here. The publisher that you're gonna pay the commission to has other alternatives. They can go and promote your competitor. So what they do is they compare between how much money are they gonna generate from you versus your competitor offer. Now, it doesn't mean that, hey, if you're paying $10 commission and your competitor is paying $20 commission, they're going to choose your competitor. No, what they do is something different. They're saying, if I, for example, sent you 100 users to your website, and out of those 100, let's say 10 of them have converted into a sale, and you're paying $10 per conversion, that means that for 100 users, the publisher will receive $100. Or in other words, they're gonna generate $1 on the average per user. And that's how they measure it versus your competition. So if for example, your competition gives them $20, but only generates one sale per 100 users, then they're gonna get 20 cents per user. So they're obviously gonna wanna work with you. Now, you can play with that, and we usually recommend that you do. There's averages and there's standards that you can start with, there are references, and then you can adjust it. For example, if your offer converts better than expected, then you can probably lower your commission and still remain competitive. If your offer doesn't generate as much, so you need to make a decision. Do you wanna increase your commission, pay more in order to still maintain that average, or maybe change your conversion point and don't ask for a purchase, ask for a lead, just for them to leave their details, and which is a lot easier for them and probably will generate more money. Again, it depends on how you think your funnel works. Of course, it's always important to remember that you also need to find the right publisher and traffic. And I'll give you an example. If you're selling t-shirts, probably a blog that is focused on pets would not be the right publisher to send you traffic. Okay, so that leads me to the third step, which is find the right publishers for you. Okay, so, okay, you got the platform, you got a price, you got an offer. Where do you get the traffic from? So there are several options. One is you can build your own network of publishers. It will require you to figure out who's the right publishers, approach them, integrate with them, make them an offer, talk to them. Most businesses don't have the time or the expertise to do this. The other option is join one of the large affiliate marketplaces. You can see a lot of them on the right, some of the names there. It's great. They all have a catalog of several thousands of offers from different verticals, okay? The problem is that they have a lot of offers that compete with you. And you still need to access their publishers in order to convince those publishers to choose you and promote you, because they have thousands of offers to choose from. That's where you need to consider whether you want to, and that's another alternative, hire an affiliate manager that specializes in this, or an agency that specializes in this and can promote you with their publishers actively. And the last choice you have, which is usually better for small and medium businesses, is join a smaller affiliate network or an exchange that specializes in your type of offers. So there are smaller affiliate networks that, for example, specialize in Nutra, that specialize in clothing, that specialize in sport, okay? And they already have those publishers, and they will actually take your offer and push it to their publishers. So they'll do the work for you, okay, on a smaller scale, but usually it's at least in the beginning, it's a good enough scale until you get to be a large corporate, and then it's a different strategy. Okay, guys, that was it in a nutshell. I got about, I think, 3.5 more minutes, right? So I'll leave it for Q&A. If you do want more information, don't hesitate to reach out to us at info@adshopper.co, or I believe we'll send a PDF with all the contact information of all the presenters.
That was great, Amos. I really appreciate that. That's a whole nother world that I hadn't really thought about. And I think that's great, because we often just hear about the dominance of Facebook and these other big platforms. I've heard a lot about Shopify as being a place that people are flocking to rather than Amazon because of not wanting to give up their metrics. Do you see how does this COVID crisis kind of changing that? Or we hear about the dominance of Amazon. Do you think the small shops going to Shopify are going to be a better idea than going to Amazon, where they might steal your metrics and steal your make a competing product?
So I don't think Amazon is going away anytime soon. What I can tell you, neither is Shopify. It's different type of merchants. Also Etsy, there are a lot of them now. I think the interesting thing that we're seeing in COVID is that a lot more people are now suddenly aware and interested in what is called affiliate marketing and performance marketing, because even the big brands cut their budgets, their marketing budget. Some of them went into basically defense mode, cut 90% of their budget, especially the travel industry and other industries. And now they're looking at, how can I maximize my return on investment on any dollar I invest? And suddenly spending this on Facebook or on Google makes less sense for them when they have other options. And it holds true for even small businesses that, spend what, $50 on a Shopify or $100 a month on a Shopify store, and don't have a lot of money to spend on advertising, but want to get this traffic. So now they can suddenly move to performance and say, okay, I'll pay you, I'll pay you a lot. I'll pay you even 50% of my revenue if you bring me the sale. So it's a huge opportunity for them that kind of levels the field when they go compete with the big brands.